they say when there's like going to be a major natural disaster, that the animals are like behaving abnormally, or like do stuff like that. Something in here, in me is doing that. I don't know what it is. Something's not right. The end is coming. What this means? I don't know. Am I gonna die horribly? Am I gonna die horribly? Or am I going to have anything else happen? I don't know. We'll see. At least it'll be something. Sitting around doing nothing for way too goddamn long. I'm so bored. I want to just make some of these broadcasts. They help me amuse myself. I don't know. I guess like they say, oh, yeah, if you know how teachers love to teach. Sometimes at school they like love their jobs. I don't know. It's kind of like the same thing. I don't get paid. I'm not like an official teacher, but I guess it is somewhat enjoyable to share some things I know to people who might want to know them too. Forget it. Also, my mustache. Look, you see these parts right here? I'm waiting for these to grow back in because I pulled these all out a while ago. I don't know why. I just kind of get stressed out and it was kind of like, and I stopped at some point before it was too late. Now I'm waiting for these to grow back in. So it might take a while, but eventually my mustache will catch back up to where it needs to be, or where I want it to be anyway. It's fine as it is. I could trim it back again still, but if I just wait, eventually these will grow out, connect with this, then I'll be able to. It'll be a little bit better, I think. Possibly. Maybe. Yeah, it'll be like out here. Anyway, what was I saying? What did I want to? I had a bunch of random things I was thinking about telling you. I watched this old movie just a minute ago called The Cremator, part of the Criterion Collection. I like the Criterion Collection. If I ever see one of those, I usually am like, oh, Criterion. Yeah, I want to watch one of those. Sort of Doom was a Criterion Collection film. Good one to watch. Glad I watched it. So the one too, yeah. I mean, it was kind of like slow going. I imagine like some kids probably might be bored if they don't really see what's going on, I guess. But there was something really spooky about it. Particularly the woman. The like angel of death. I don't know what to call her. She just, as the guy started becoming like more and more diluted by the Nazi by the Nazi Reich fantasy, which is like kind of like a mirror of the Jewish fucking Reich monarchy, chosen people thing. As he started getting more and more diluted on that with faith, it's like she would like sort of like appear in the background, like looking, just like dark hair, pale skin, looking fucking terribly creepy. I don't know, I had kind of like, that was a lot creepier than you might have expected, just seeing a person. Although, I guess where she placed herself, or where she was placed. I don't think she was a real person. Like, I mean, she was a real person, but like character in the movie. I think she was just like this vision he saw, watching him from time to time. No, no, yeah, no. That's. I think I see what they're fucking, yeah, it doesn't matter. Forget that. That's not important. But I was watching that movie and it gave me a couple things to think about that I wanted to talk about. Um, One of them was, well, I don't want to go there. I was thinking about maybe like explaining all the way of the story and all that, just to pass the time. But I don't know if that seems right either. It's just, man, it's just these fucking times right now. These times right now are, something's fucking wrong, man. I'm fucking throwing out the dang on voice, power of the voice these days. Like the Dova King reminding, well, you know, I guess maybe that's why I gotta remind the female population that we do have some differences that you shouldn't take for granted and ignore. Consider them like already secured for yourself. Because if you're on their side, you're not gonna have that. And that, like, you know, what are they gonna do to stop that? You know, I wonder how far. I was saying I'm gonna like freaking, I'm gonna roar so much I'll freaking wake up every freaking man, beast, and bug to the ends of the earth and back. Until everyone's ready to fight. Because I'm not gonna fucking lose everything just because some people are being fucking assholes. And I mean lose everything. Like all of humanity, all of civilization. Just because there's some fucking people who have like squirmed their way into like civil power. And are using it like selfishly, like fucking spoiled children or something. Like, no, I'm not going to fucking lose everything for that. I'm gonna wake everyone up and we're gonna fight. We're gonna get it all back. Everything back the way it's supposed to be. Hopefully that happens soon. I don't know why they're fucking so afraid to talk about stuff. Oh, right. That's because they're like, they're trying to do everything via the thought. Yeah. I think that's power. But that's not. That's not real life. The thought is not real. A thought does not become real until you express it into word or sign or with an action. Otherwise, it's just a thought. It's perhaps like on the verge of existence into creation. It's like a potential. But reality, like the natural laws of the universe, are firm, consistent, powerful, undeniable. Those don't just change for your imagination, for your thoughts. The world is a construction of thoughts. We call these things that we all live in, that live our homes and our cities and all that, and nations and planet and all that, we call that the world, but the world itself is like a construction of thoughts that is all interwoven through all that. Otherwise, it's all just buildings and streets and objects and things like that. But that's what the world is. The world is in those things. And so you don't really need to fear anything happening to the world. The world's going to be okay. It could be the end of the world, all that getting destroyed. And like a whole bunch of new thoughts would just like come back and like collect on all that material stuff again. A new world would come. It'd be fine. You don't need to be afraid. Does that make sense? You don't need to be afraid of that. You're not going to lose any part of yourself when that happens. Because, like your skin, your blood underneath your skin, and your bones underneath your blood, and the marrow inside your bones, all that, that's real. That's real, and that abides by the laws of nature. Life. Life that can think, do, create, all abiding by the laws of nature. That is something. But you're not going to lose that if all the thoughts disappear. Because you'll just have more thoughts. They'll just come back. You know what I'm saying? It's fine. You shouldn't ever be afraid of that. Which is why, I find it so shocking that a lot of you are concerned with your chosen identity group. As if that is you in a sense of survival. No, dude. Please do not be mistaken. That is important. I do not disregard that. But that is not as important as your skin, your blood, your bones, your marrow, and your real life body. That's my pressure cooker turning off. Made some beans today. But, yeah, so. I find that so surprising that you're, concerned that you're gonna, die or something, that you're gonna be hurt if that identity you've chosen to identify with, goes away. You won't. You won't. You'll still be you. Even if you don't know who you are, you'll still be you. Even if you don't know how to name yourself, call yourself, describe yourself, you'll still be you. If you don't have the words for it, you can still say, I am, and express yourself without any words at all. You won't need any thoughts to be your own self, your own identity. You won't lose yourself if those words, those thoughts, those labels, names, categories, identity groups, if all that goes away, you will be okay. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. But if you're threatening a person's body over your identity group, you're taking it to another level of danger. And that is going to, you're going to get another response to your body. I guess that's why wars happen. That's why we end up killing each other. Or that's why I end up killing you, if I'm going to be a little bit more honest here. Time and time again. You don't need to do that. Please. If you don't want to keep dying by me, you need to stop fighting me on my domain. How about you battle me up in the world of thoughts? That's where you have your ground, if that's your main identity. If that's where you're most comfortable, do not threaten my body. Do not try to, talk yourself into, or, deceive yourself into what you're doing as if it doesn't affect my body when you're interfering with my profession, my line of work, my social interactions, my, just daily life, things like that. You are attacking my body even if you're not doing it directly. And you should know better. You should know. If I was responsible for causing you to lose your job so you stopped getting a paycheck, would you not feel like your body was threatened? Do you see what I'm saying? Don't be fucking ridiculous. Obviously, you're attacking my body with all the oppression that you're doing against me. I'm not doing any of that to you. I'm attacking that identity group of yours. Only up there with thoughts and ideas, with words, with reason. But are your bodies in any danger from me? Have you ever felt any of that? Well, yeah, maybe maybe some of the people around here. That's different though. I was mainly talking to the people who are conspirators, neighbors here. So, well, that's not necessarily from me. That's just more like a natural reminder of why people need to be good, and they shouldn't be so evil and selfish, thinking they're safe inside the walls of civilization. You think you're safe from the savage nature of man inside the walls of civilization? Uh-uh. Be good, please be good. Do not provoke people. Do not provoke people with your, like, passive selfishness, with your meanness, with your hard-heartedness. Do not, like, fucking kick someone when they're down. Do not make life worse for people. Do not inconvenience things. Just be afraid. God is at the very bottom. God is on the ground floor. And if you're, like, sending stuff down because you're angry and you're, like, fucking making things worse for people that are subject to you, people that are going to be uh, people that are going to be dehumanized by what you're doing. You're putting them down by doing something to someone else's um, difficulty, or not difficulty. No, that's not it. I don't know what the word is right now. It's not on my, it's not on my mind. I guess what your selfishness. Yeah, because of your selfishness, where you, like, take from others to, like, profit more yourself because you feel like, why should I help you? I can take care of myself. Yes, but if you're going to take care of yourself, you're going to do that by making sure everyone around you is good. Because if you're getting all the goodness yourself, and everyone around you is suffering because you're taking everything in yourself because of how selfish you are, and they all start, like hurting, suffering because of all that's going away from them, eventually that's going to go down to the bottom. You're going to wake up God. God's going to come kill every last one of us. From point of view. That's that's the logic you should have as an animal. Don't let yourself be fooled by the immediate situation. For survival, you need to be a more rational creature. You need to be able to think a few steps ahead. Otherwise, you will not survive. We need you to be able to do that for civilization to exist, for civilization to continue, for all this to keep going in the right direction, good, getting better, all the time. Think a few steps ahead. You should have what you need, yeah, and you should have more than enough. And you should be able to enjoy yourself. You don't have to, like, suffer for the sake of others. But be very careful not to make life worse for others because of what you're doing to benefit. Be very careful about that. Because if you're not careful, someone is going to hurt eventually very, very bad. And that is like like yeah, yeah, a full circle turning point when that happens. Where it's like the suffering reaches the critical level, and then someone just sends a punch right back. And it comes all the way back around and fucking destroys everything over there. and then it was all a waste of time. You don't need to do that. You could just avoid all that destruction happening by being very careful to not, like, cause suffering to other people when you're benefiting yourself. So, these are my rules of life. 3 of them. 3 things you need to do to stay on my good side. Me, Nick by Lotus. Yeah, me. There's people like me everywhere. I'm on the level with, you know, I'm close. I'm right there, basically. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, no. He's like probably, I would say outside. I'm very close though. Very close. And we're not opposed to each other. I don't. We're not threatened by each other either. And I think we do what we can for each other when we can. But so it might be in your best interest just to listen to these rules. 1. Do not inconvenience other people. And if you do, make sure you apologize. Do not inconvenience people on purpose. Do not go out of your way to, like, waste people's time. Cause them trouble, be nuisances, bother them, inconvenience them. I mean, I understand, like, fucking people, like, fucking tease each other, and, you know, brothers will fucking annoy each other and fight a little bit, and stuff like that. Like, sure, yeah, that's all still bad, but parents will take care of that. But when you're in the adult world, do not inconvenience things for your coworker, for your neighbor, for the immigrant, for the citizen of another nation, for people abroad in a completely different culture. Do not inconvenience them for any reason. Do not ever do that. You will provoke a response that you will not be able to withstand because of that kind of inconvenience. You should be more considerate. You should definitely be more considerate about that. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, what's the other thing? I mentioned, don't be evil. Technical term. Don't be technically evil. Alright? That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that. Except, I'll say a little bit more. Like, if you can be, like, legally classified as as evil, like, technically, like, as in you are, like, a hostile, malevolent threat to all life, civilization, humanity, and everything good, like you are an enemy to all of that, if you can be technically classified as that, do not ever do that. Like, you, right? Why would anyone have a problem with that? I mean, sometimes you want to play evil for fun and stuff. Okay. That's not, like, technically evil. But you should know what I'm talking about. Keep in mind, if you're ever, like, doing something fucked up, don't be evil with it. Please. What's the last thing? Oh, yeah. Last thing. Yeah, do your best to be nice. Polite to other people. That's all. Like, you don't have to, that's not really a rule or anything, or a law. And you don't have to feel bad about it. If you feel like, if you're in a bad mood and you need to be rude, and you need to say something, or you're angry, fucking do it. That's fine, of course, yes. But if you can, if it's possible, try to be somewhat kind and polite with others, if possible. Totally understandable if not. It may not be your personality. You may have a really, like, a bitter kind of perception of kindness. That's fine. That's totally fine. But do your best to, if, you know, just a general idea. It's not really something that's going to be enforced. It's not like you're going to be committing a sin if you're not doing that. If you're being, I mean, you might be, but it's not necessarily that. You should at least try, though. You should try to do that if you can. Especially with people you don't know. Especially with people you don't know. If you think you know them, or you think you have them all figured out, but you don't know them, just assume that you don't know. Assume that you don't know anything about them if you think you know them. Assume that everything you think you know is wrong, if that's what you think. Alright, so, what else do we want to talk about? So this thing I was talking about before with the, it's kind of this mystical concept of God, though, Ra, and Om, Kst at the bottom. Think of that as like wood in a fire. Kst. A deer you hunted. Cooking, eating it. The animal you slaughter. Kst. Not necessarily a bad thing. But that's part of life. That's part of reality. Is that that's like it's just yeah. It's just part of the cycle of things. Like we try not to be mean about that or unjust. We try to be civilized as much as possible. But like when we gotta eat, meat is good. We're gonna keep eating meat, and we're gonna kill our enemies. I don't know what else to tell you. Don't be kst. Forget that. You don't even need to talk about it. You shouldn't need to have any instructions about that. You should just know to avoid that. But I do want to talk about this Om here. So imagine that those 5 points, like a cross, and literally like a cross, like where the kst is further down than the points on the arms and the head. Like it's significantly a little lower or more of a distance away from the center than all the other parts. And then though is on the left. That's you may recognize it more as Thoth. And Ra on the right. On the right. I don't know. It probably doesn't matter which side, but just for this example. And Om in the middle, and God at the top. God at the top. Gu'od. Which is really kind of like an unknowable thing that we all know. We all recognize that. Yeah, if you've ever gone to a foreign nation, to a language, that speaks a language you don't know, and you've had like an interaction with people of familiarity without needing to exchange language, words, dialogue, that's a connection through that. Think of it like that. Like, you will know that. Like, you would know if you needed to help someone. Or if you were being, like, threatened. You may not know all the subtleties and finer details of life. Unless you knew the language. But that's not the point there. That, all those subtleties and finer details, all those words, because that up there is like actually above the word itself that we name it. Like, it's not the word. It's higher than the word, which is why we all had such a hard time finding out what to do about it, what we should call it, how we should know what we're all talking about, what, how it's going to apply in our daily lives, how we could communicate without confusing that, since it was so like universally relevant to everything. But all the subtleties, that's right down there in the middle where you got Om. And what is Om? Think of it like a lotus flower, or the rosy cross, like a blossoming rose right there in the center of the cross. The flower. That is the why. That is the reason. That is everything. All of it. Why we do any of this. Why? Because, I don't know, good. Stuff's good. Good. Music sounds good. Girls are pretty. Movies are cool. Games are fun. I mean, it's fun to drive a fast car. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all, those are all like, that's the blossoming flowers of creation. That's the lotus opening. And like, the lotus represents like nature doing that, and the flowers in general. But you see, yeah, I think that's that's what I wanted to share with you. Rosy Cross. I'm part of that group, by the way. Ancient Mystical Order of Rosicrucians. I am. I'm behind on my dues, but I hope they can forgive me. I'm getting to pay my friggin' internet right now. So I'll have to upload this later, if I do. But no, I'm sure it's not a problem. They've always been real good to me. Whenever I've talked to them, tried to, or I renewed my membership or whatever. Caught back up on those studies. Yeah, so you could think about that as the Om, as the reason why. And in the mystical tradition, as far as I know, Om itself is like the sound of creation happening. It's like this the sound of God making the world, making everything, bringing all goodness into existence. It's the sound issued forth by the divine at the very beginning, and it issues forth through everything all the time, which is why that's at the center. Now, I mentioned Tho and Ra because those also are significant words, and they're important words too, good ones. But those aren't as like centrally integral to the universal constant that Om is as a cultural moniker. So Ra, I guess that would come from the Egyptian tradition, and Tho would come from the Celtic tradition, the Norse tradition of around that general area, Northern Europe, and then I guess Egypt would be African. Those are like elements of necessary parts, like the right and the left of the differences we have. That nobody is going to just constantly sit in the center of the Om unless you're the dang Buddha. How many of us are the Buddha? I mean, if you are, cool, awesome, good on you. But that's more than we could ask of anyone. All right, you're not expected to be the Buddha. The Buddha is like on God level, super wise and amazing. Just you don't have to be that. So we tend to gravitate one way or the other, one side, and we do and yeah, and that's fine. Yeah. So it in a place like yeah, and you could think of like Tho and Ra, like those differences that we have in society. That those like that polarity that tends to happen in civilization. Some people thinking one thing, other people thinking another thing, and then you're getting like just so passionate about it that they start like clashing and fighting, and they forget about the Om in the middle because they all just like move from the side, and then there's like a bunch of emptiness in the middle, and you all forget about the reason why we're doing anything, and you start sacrificing all the good stuff that like makes all that relevant, and then it's no longer relevant. Like right now, what the hell are you Republicans and Democrats fighting over? None of that's relevant at the moment because of what's at danger, what's been sacrificed. None of you want the USA and freedom to go away. None of you. You may think you do, but you do not. And please listen so I can explain that to you. The USA is an international interest for everyone. It is like... Hold on. Let me turn my hair back a little bit more so I can not be distracted. These freaking locks. Fall on. Alright, there we go. That's a little better. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'm saying this way, just because I guess it's more comfortable. You were looking at the other side of my face in my other video. And there's not, I didn't have any rhyme to this, or rhythm, or reason. I was just doing what I'm doing. I've moved my camera to a different spot, my computer to a different spot, yeah, because I wanted to sit on my sofa. That's about it. And a nice sofa, too. That was, my goodness. Finding the sofa that you are satisfied with, that is quite the search. Because, well, first of all, sofas are expensive. Especially a brand new one. But also, they're all different and shaped different ways, and you have different unique ways to... Forget it. Well, anyway, this one's pretty nice, though. I like it. What was I going to say? The reasons why. The raw... sacrificing everything, so that we're not really doing it anymore. So those other reasons are relevant. Why America's interest for everyone. That's because... yeah, I guess it's a place where the ohm is sustained as a constant. For those who don't want to be on one side or the other, and want to be like everything, all things, with all of it, intermingle, change, be regular, not be like totally... That's fine too. That goes here. And as long as you have that, all those other things will always be relevant. That's like the anchor point. But it's harder to maintain that. Because it's more chaotic, it's more unstable, it's more... it's more subject to the passions. It's more, difficult to find reasons that match all the different points of view. So that we can all agree on something when we're so, freaking ideologically opposed. It is more difficult. It's not impossible, though. It's definitely not impossible. We need the best and brightest minds that we got doing those jobs in the government. Always. It should not be anything less than that. The most intelligent people, the most capable public speakers, they're the ones who need to be doing this. Doing that, anyway. Not this, that. I'm not working. Well, I guess it's kind of similar. But, oh man, we need to make some kind of, qualification requirement for that. Just some, prerequisites of, things you should have mastered before you get there. That way you don't freaking make some catastrophic mistakes because you don't really know what you're doing. It's much more than just an economy. There is a spiritual reality. That is very difficult to understand. But that's maybe the most important part of that kind of job, is having an awareness of that. suppose if our government is going to have any sort of spiritual tradition to anchor it, Buddhism would probably be the best. The middle way. Not because like we all want to be middle centralists or anything like that, but because the government should be anchored right in the middle. And it shouldn't ever like side one way or the other. It should be permanently fixed according to our single doctrine that we all agree on. I was like, okay, as long as you're obeying these rules, like I got no problems with you. You don't have to worry about me. I'm not gonna be suspicious of you, or not gonna be like paranoid that you might be plotting something, or you know, yeah, you could just go live free, do whatever you want. It's cool. I'm going to be doing the same. You don't need to worry about me, because we both agree that these laws, these kind of things, we're going to protect these. But that's not what's happening anymore, and that's why the USA is in so much danger. We need to we need to get that corrected before things get very very bad. It's not too late, I don't think. But I mean, when is it going to be too late? What would it take for it to be too late? You need to see like cities getting like airstrikes happening all over the USA. Do you need to see an invasion of foreign deployed troops, like here? Other nations, boots on the ground here in the USA? Is that what you need to see before you realize it's too late? That's what's going to happen. If you stray any further and don't get back to the doctrine of freedom, the Constitution. You shouldn't be thinking about those jobs like it's personal. Like you need to use your charisma, your personal power to do any of it. You don't need to do any of that. You're just supposed to be like using your mind like it's a job to work, like doctrine, and then you go do your personal life outside of work. I mean, and because you're a government official, like you have some restrictions to how that goes, but that's fine. That's part of the sacrifice of working with the government, and that's also why you get paid taxes, taxpayer money, to get paid to do that. We all pay for you. There are some limits to what you're able to do while you're in that job, but you're still able to ultimately kind of live your personal life outside. It's like that for the military too, you know. You still have a personal life. You're still free to a certain extent, but there's some things you're not allowed to do that you are definitely allowed to do when you're a citizen, and you don't need to worry about. I think maybe that's why they got confused with me. They still wanted to judge me by military standards they expected of me. I'm not in the military anymore. I don't have to abide by all those codes. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, maybe that explains it enough. Do I need to say more? I don't think I need to say any more. What else do you want to know about? Anything? It's getting kind of dark. Sun's setting outside. What should I tell you? Wait, the story? Yeah, so if Om, like as a concept, is like the reason, the expression, that's more of like a visual expression of that. And then storytellers would be like the bees, I guess. You know, they're like, I guess they take the pollen from the flowers and make honey with it. And that honey is just like another expression of that goodness getting even better over and over again. That reminds me of another thing I want to tell you about. This like fucking thing that you have against drinking alcohol. You need to fucking stop that immediately, or you're gonna get yourself in hot water you're not gonna know how to get out of, and it will be too late to get out of when you're already in it, and you'll die. So stop before you get yourself killed. You are not gonna take away our beer. You're not gonna take away our wine, our vodka, or rum, or whiskey. None of it. Stop trying. What the fuck are you even... Why would you want to do that? That's like the best part of civilization. Yeah, it really is. I mean... You have an idea, like, when that was like the beginning? Think back when we first started doing that. Someone comes by and is like, yeah, we're actually... We need you all to stop drinking alcohol. And imagine how laughable that idea was. You're like, are you fucking... Like, hell no. You have any idea what we all went through just to make this keg of beer? Like, we had to grow all this. We had to, like, create this lab with our fucking sticks and fucking stone tools. With all these, like, parts we kind of, like, managed to fit together and get it going right. And someone finally perfected the recipe so we can do it reliably each time. And now, we're having a big party to celebrate. Sure, it gets a little bit rowdy, but, so what? That's one of the best parts about life. All that stuff keeps us all cooperating, keeps us all going, keeps us all interested, keeps us all entertained. That's a reason for the most hardcore those and the most hardcore raws to get together and dance and have a good time and not feel threatened by one another. The alcohol. That. Put that between. Drink. Enjoy. Have fun. Don't be mad at each other. Blame it on the alcohol later. Yeah, just don't take that away. Like, it's not because, like being drunk is the best thing, but it's like, it's how it just, like, oh, all that it does, all that it represents. Like, the culmination of our, like, ingenuity to make goodness even better. To turn honey into mead. You know, like, fuck, honey just got yummier. And now it gets us drunk. Fuck yes. I think the main problem y'all have with it, though, is that now it's a lot easier to make huge quantities of that stuff, so we have a lot of it. Back then, it was much more, it was much more, limited in quantity, I guess you could say. Yeah. And so it's easier for people to get too much. But that's no reason to take it away. Because you're going to take it away from the people who most enjoy it, also. And we're not going to stand for that. We're going to just go kill you to have it back. Yeah. If you do try to take it away. I'm serious. I'm totally serious. Yeah, shit, I'll go to war for that. If you're trying to make this nation a fucking sober nation, let's go to war. Let's get a militia going. We'll round up some people. We'll fucking, yeah, let's go fucking get our goddamn beer back. What the hell's their problem? So, to mitigate your concerns for that, first, identify what you're actually afraid of. Is it the alcohol? Is it like, what you're afraid of happening to your children with the alcohol? And what is that you're afraid of happening to your children? And why are you afraid of it? Do you think removing the alcohol is going to prevent that from happening? Is that even at all, like, the problem? Is the problem drinking and driving, or is the problem that, like, there's not enough fucking public transportation around for people to take? Instead, these days, everybody needs a freaking car to get where they want to go. Basically, not everybody. I don't have a car. I mainly just walk where I gotta go. It's all close enough. And I can order stuff online, which is pretty cool. Used to be able to do that too back then. You'd probably have like, depending on the community you lived in, you probably had a page where you could place an order with on some paper, and you'd run over to the market or place or whatever, pick up your goods, pay, or put it on your bill for them, and they didn't come back with the goods. Probably wouldn't even have to send the money. It would just be like you just put it on your tab how much you owe, and then eventually when you go out, you would go out and pay yourself. That's probably how that worked. I would think. Page like probably a child that goes running, but imagine they also probably put some more clandestine agents in those ranks to do fucking treacherous things. Man. Anyway, that's not important now. Oh, what else? What else do we want to talk about? Anything else? I really haven't turned off now. Alright, if I want to talk more, I'll talk more later. That's all for now.